Well, the conference this year has been built around our theme of innovate, think, create, act. And what that's about is challenging advisors to say, what can I do better about my practice, about my business, about how I deliver the actual advice? So, you know, the innovation that we're so used to hearing about is, you know, a better definition in an insurance policy, or an innovation on how a platform's going to make it more efficient to do business. That stuff's important too. But right now is a time for advisors to say, you know, we've been on the back foot around FOFA and regulatory change for 4.5 years. Let's get on the front foot and create the changes that we want to have in our businesses about how we actually deliver the advice. A constant discussion point between the AFA and government when we catch up is to understand that the majority of financial advice in Australia comes from small businesses. And small business owners, gee, they do it tough. I mean, I was one before taking on the CEO's role here. It is really tough to be in a small business, particularly as the leader of that business. You're trying to give great advice in most cases. You're still a practicing advisor. But then you're trying to run a practice. You're trying to organise, manage people. But if you don't occasionally step back from the noise and explore what you want to create in your business, you will end up ending somewhere by accident. You'll end up being, you know, like a stick floating down a river. You just go where the water takes you. Well, that's not my idea of running a great business. What we're encouraging practice owners to do is to say, you know, I've got choices about what my business looks like, how I give advice, how I charge for advice, what sort of clients I want, and how that's going to survive through 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years as a business. So innovation is about saying, rather than end up somewhere by accident, make the time, grab back control and implement the stuff that you want to do to get the business you want to have. But don't end up there by accident. You know, innovations are probably a polite word for managing change. And change is a word that people seem to avoid. Many are scared of it, yet we're all changing all the time. We actually don't get to stop change. It's happening every day. To your people in your business, to your own business, to your clients, to the marketplace, it is happening. So grab the reins of that and deliberately shape your business to take advantage of it. Because right now, we have enormous opportunities for financial advice in Australia. Despite all of the regulatory reform and bad news reports and all those things, there has never been more Australians that need advice than what we have right now today. 1,000 Australians a week retiring. You know, there is so much demand for financial advice. I just reckon grab the reins and create the business you want to have to take advantage of the opportunities. There is issues around how to bring technology into practices. You know, one of the mistakes that we see happen is grabbing a technology provider that doesn't have deep pockets to continue the R&D of their product. So you get into a product, you base your systems and processes around it, but then you find that 3 or 4 years down the track, they've stopped innovating and you actually get left behind. So when we look at things like MDAs, which is changing the advice structure of your business, there's a lot to think about in there. There's obviously advice convenience around MDAs, but there is a different set of risks around it, and it does require a different set of skills and attributes from the advisor or the advice practice, in my view, as well. It's a bit like an advisor that thinks, you know, self-managed super funds are the flavour of the day, I'm going to start advising on self-managed super funds, but they do it without doing enough preparatory work to have the necessary skill set to do it well. You know, to venture into something like MDAs without doing the work to have the skills to ongoingly manage that, protecting yourself, protecting your clients and creating a great outcome is a lot of risk to take on. So examine those things, but take them on when you're prepared to do them. If we consider some of the other technology solutions, I'm amazed at the number of practices I'm coming across now that are outsourcing back-end administration to teams of people in places like Malaysia. This is not some far-fetched idea like it was 3 or 4 years ago. This is now becoming a fairly familiar cost-driven solution for the extra administration required of advice practices. I know one business I was talking to a couple of weeks ago has a team of 4 people in Malaysia, full-time, doing back office admin. So that it's not just innovation around technology, it's innovation around thinking of how do you create efficiencies in your business.